National Conference here in Orlando, Florida. I've got the distinct pleasure of once again introducing you to Vigilaire, Ross, Nancy. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Third year in a row, you guys have been here. We can't get rid of you, apparently.
That's true.
There you go. Or you can't get rid of us, one or the other.
We love to be here.
There you go. Nancy, congratulations on being the keynote speaker this morning at the Women's Professional Breakfast. Thank you so much for doing that. How huge is that, to be asked to be presented with an opportunity to get in front of a group of women professionals in the industry, both from law enforcement and retail?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it was a huge honor to be just even amongst all those amazing women. And so I was very flattered and humbled to be a part of that, and I want to shout out great thank you to Clear, to FleetPru, to Securitas for, I'm hopefully pronouncing that right.
You're pronouncing it right.
For them sponsoring the event, and it was just a wonderful experience to just maybe be able to offer a few words of advice, and now I've got those contacts there that I can obviously learn from them as well.
Yeah, I loved your career path story. It was a great story.
Thank you.
From beginning to end, the whole life experience, starting Compton. I had no idea you started in Compton as an EMT.
I know.
That's a place to be an EMT.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That was my first experience into shootings and stabbings and, into that world, which was crazy.
Yeah. So, and making that leap from that type of world, you brought, just being EMT there, you brought a really unique set of tools into the environment of law enforcement.
That's true. Obviously, we're always thinking safety and, I was hoping I would never have to use those types of things with a fellow partner or something like that, of course. But it's always good to have, the more tools you have in your handbag is always a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, it was great messaging, and we really appreciate you doing that and sharing that, story with everybody. I think that was huge for some folks, even myself. And I'm not, I was just there, to take pictures and stuff. But I was like, I'll go to a women's breakfast, no problem. Why not? So
it was an honor. Thank you.
Absolutely. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Did a great job. All right, Ross, you're still on the force.
I am, sir.
You're juggling right now, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Going on 30 years with the Los Angeles Police Department. Still proud to be there, and I still enjoy it, and I'm still passionate about it. But then I'm also passionate about doing my part to help fight ORC and what Vigilaire brings to that, and working together with all the different retailers and law enforcement to make that happen.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I want to thank you both for your service and all the support. You guys are a sponsor of the Clear FleetPru Conference this year, so we really appreciate that. I just had the honor of interviewing Steve Beerer. See, I even messed up his name. So, from LAPD retired, and we talked about that transition from the public sector law enforcement into the private sector. He's now an ORC investigator for a retailer, and we talked about those challenges, and one of the things that he brought up during his interview was Vigilaire, and he recently went through a course. I guess it was a refresher course for him, but a different spin. A little bit different spin from what he may have gone through in that course as a law enforcement officer versus the private sector. Let's talk about that for a minute, and how, you mentioned it during your talk this morning, the fact that, you were approached by the private sector to say, hey, you guys have a tool, a training curriculum that we in the private sector desperately need, right? And that caused you to have to actually kind of tweak some things, right?
Yes, actually, we in law enforcement do the best job of sharing information and whatnot, and obviously private industry here does a really good job at it. We've seen that collaboration in fighting common enemies, and ultimately that's kind of what brought private industry to Vigilaire. Back a few years ago, 2018, we were approached. We really did not know what the mission of ORC, fighting ORC was. They introduced us to it, some retailers, and we kind of tweaked what we had, but still kept with the same fundamentals, because the fundamentals don't change that way.
Sure.
And we brought that to the private industry and all the different retailers and grocers and whatnot, and really try to standardize that and make them as safe as possible and do our part. Hopefully, we've recognized that the collaboration between the retailers and grocers is amazing, and that is one lesson law enforcement actually learned from the retailers and industry. That amount of level of collaboration is amazing.
It's really important as a former law enforcement, former retail executive. I look at what you all deliver as a solution as something that really limits risk, limits liability, helps to train individuals who are in those high-risk positions. These ORC investigators that are doing surveillance and such, they are in high-risk positions. And I think it's really important for a solution like yours to really be brought to the forefront to make sure that those employees are doing things by some sort of guideline, by some sort of SOP, standard operating procedure, that they're operating safely, risk-free, limiting the liability involved in what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely are trying to. That's the whole idea behind this, is standardizing the industry, right? And by doing that, you are keeping everybody so much safer. The ORC individuals don't have that ability to flash a badge or have a weapon to protect themselves, and so we obviously want to train them and help them recognizing some of those red flags and things that they, because obviously we teach them to follow people. It's the whole idea of not to get compromised or not to get burned. But sometimes it does happen, and so they need to be, we put out that formalized training to, for their legal people and their corporate to feel confident that they can send them out there and feel safe. They know what to do in situations and maybe recognizing some of those flags.
Yeah.
And JC, nobody wants to be on an island, right? Nobody wants to develop their own CEO when they're already one that works and functions and the rest of the industry does, right? So we use that analogy. You always want to know, now more than ever, everybody's collaborating and working together and sharing probably unprecedentedly in the industry, right? But now working together, we would have never worked together before. We would never share information of what we know. And then we're going to go out there and do stuff with law enforcement combined. We would never work together. We never we have different policies. I don't know what the person next to me, what their proficiency level, what their love, what they were trained. So that's where that standardization comes into effect. It really helps retailers know that, hey, we're following what the industry is doing, which is the best standardized practice and procedure. So even though we have independent policies, we also can come together a certain level of professional expectation for our people.
Right, and especially when you start seeing there is, like you talked about that collaboration, right? How is it that you have individuals who are in the private sector conducting these investigations, conducting surveillance, and when they come together to meet about the case or discuss, the operation involved, and they all say, both in the public sector and private sector, we do the very surveillance and law enforcement. So every on the page is a surveillance operation.
Yeah, absolutely. Even in my years of practicing, this is the only platform that I've known, and we've discussed that before, where you're combining private sector and together, training together on the same page, and that doesn't really happen. So we're able to do that, and that way not just with different organizations, but also with law enforcement and together.
Yeah. How much the industry in general has changed as it relates to training and operation, ORC, and conducting these investigations and operation. It's just unbelievable to see this happening now, because for so many years I screamed, hey, listen, we need to train this. Well, there's no why is that training? Well, we need to do this, we need to do that. Well, that's not, and now everybody is starting to finally come together. There's training solutions like Blair, where, again, like you said, that law enforcement and the private sector come together for the training, everybody on the same page. So that's awesome to see. It's really refreshing to know that there are solutions out there coming to fruition to deliver that training. So that's awesome. So guys, thank you so much for once again sponsoring the Clear event. It was great to see you, great to raise a glass with you and just down and to talk once again. And I appreciate you coming out today.
Thanks. I just like to give a shout out to our alumni, our peeps there.
Oh yeah, I want to bring that up.
Yeah, so I want to, because they're our family. We definitely want to give a shout out to them because they've been huge supporters. I mean, it's one thing for us and I to try and tell our story, but for them to actually support us and go out and share that what they've learned in the class, good, bad, and friend. But that's
you guys have quite a few out here.
We do, yeah, we do. And it's a reunion,
That's awesome. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And again, thank you so much for your sponsorship. We really appreciate that. Look forward to seeing you next year.